Welcome everybody to the Hidden Cave Lesson Plan webinar. We are excited that you have joined us today for this first webinar. The Nevada Department of Education will provide professional development on various lesson plans. This is the first trial run of a series of webinars that will be highlighting the lesson plans aligned to the curriculum guide, the history and contemporary lifestyles of the Northern Piaute, Southern Piaute, Washoe, and Western Shoshone. Um, these lesson plans are aligned to that curriculum guide, and lesson plans were developed during the year of 2012 and 2013 at the Lesson Plan Writing Retreat. In addition, we will provide professional development on the actual content within the curriculum guide, along with essential understandings. We will briefly go over the essential understandings, but want to focus this professional development on the Hidden Cave lesson plan. Before we get started, let's take a look at the agenda for today's webinar. Each presenter will give a brief introductions to themselves. I will go over the curriculum guide and briefly mention the content within the curriculum guide. Content within the curriculum guide will be given at a later date, and that date is to be announced. I will provide a snapshot of the essential understandings and why they are important to the curriculum guide, the lesson plans themselves. We will switch presenters, and Ms. Winter Carrera will provide background information on the Hidden Cave documentary. We will watch a short video that she will introduce. And finally, Maxine M. will provide the Hidden Cave lesson plan. We'll also be showing you some websites that will provide all this information on it at a later date. Again, I thank you for joining us today. My name is Ferdina Dry Romero, and I work for the Nevada Department of Education. I am the Education Programs Professional. And joining me is Ms. Winter Carrera. Winter?
Hi, Ferdina. Hi, everyone. My name is Winter Carrera. I'm the Hidden Cave producer, and currently I work at the University of Nevada, Reno. And UNR actually was one of the main collaborators in producing Hidden Cave. Now, going on to Maxine M.
Hi, I'm Maxine M. I'm a fourth grade teacher at Silver Stage Elementary School in Silver Springs, and I attended the lesson plan writing retreat from the Nevada Department of Education for Nevada natives, and I created the Hidden Cave lesson plan.
Thank you, presenters. Again, this will be recorded so that others can listen to this webinar. We will be showcasing these starting in January as well. Now let's get started. I wanted to read a piece in the curriculum guide. And it's you can see on your screen there, this curriculum is not designed as a prescription for teaching American Indian education. The prescription design is up to you. We're talking to the teachers themselves. And your talents along with your knowledge of best practices. The curriculum offers educators an insight into the historical past traveled by North America's indigenous peoples, providing the much needed background knowledge required to begin your journey. So let's get started. This is the front page of the document as of right now. It was approved by the Nevada State Board of Education on October 5th, 2012. We took the idea from Montana's Indian Education for All, talking about their tribal people in their state, indigenous to the Montana area. We took the same concept and designed a curriculum guide that talked about these different tribal groups. And to give you a little snapshot into it. Let me back up just a moment. I do want to read, we do have a pamphlet that I'm going to read out of. The curriculum guide was developed in response to the 1979 Nevada Revised Statute, Programs and Curricula for American Indians. The primary purpose of this document is to provide historical and contemporary background knowledge for teachers about American Indian, specifically those tribes in Nevada. The document offers accurate information on the tribes in Nevada in hopes that all Nevada students will gain a deeper understanding of the culture, customs, and history of the First Peoples. The curriculum guide covers topics such as federal Indian policy at the federal, state, and local levels, as well as emphasis on Indian education nationally and locally in our home state of Nevada. Information covers historical and contemporary events and lifestyles of the tribes in Nevada and truly emphasizes that tribes continue to exist today. And within that, we also have what are called the essential understandings. And the essential understandings, we ask, why are they so important? The reason being is that not everybody knows about our tribes in the state of Nevada. And for that, they don't really understand other tribal groups. We have over 500 tribal groups throughout what we would like to call Turtle Island, the United States. What is an essential understanding? Essential understandings, like I stated, are statements summarizing important ideas and core processes that are central to a discipline and have lasting value beyond the classroom. They synthesize what students should understand, not just know or do, as a result of studying a particular content area. Moreover, the students should revisit the course over their lifetime in relationship to the content area. Now, I definitely didn't want to read off the slides today, but I think that's a very important slide to kind of showcase what our essential understandings are. And to give you a little bit additional information, frames the big idea that gives the meaning and lasting importance to such curriculum elements and really unpack the areas of the curriculum where students may struggle to gain understanding. Essential Understanding 1 and 2. You might not be able to see this on your screen today, but I do want to let you know that these will be available on the department's website so that you can click on it and download it. They are currently there, but they're within the curriculum guide themselves towards the end. We want to make sure that these are available for you, and we will have that. We have 7 essential understandings. Again, this is something that we did adapt from the Montana's Office of Indian Education. The first one I definitely want to read to you. There is great diversity among the 4 tribal nations of Nevada in their languages, cultures, histories, and governments. Each nation has a distinct and unique cultural heritage that contributes to modern Nevada. And many people in our state don't even know that we have 4 tribal nations that consist of 27 tribes and bands located across the state on reservations and colonies. And there you can see a map that kind of shows the traditional land where our people lived. And again, this is not completely accurate. We do have some boundary there. When we were developing this, we adapted this map from the museum here in Carson City. Oh, let me back up one more time. We do have essential understanding number 2, and again, it talks about the great diversity amongst our Indian people. We have completely ranges of different people, from assimilated to traditional people, to those who are powwow dancers, to attending only powwows and maybe very frequently or infrequently. I'm not going to go into great details about each and every one of those because the main purpose of this webinar is to really tell you about the hidden cave. So I'm on your screen, you'll also see Essential Understanding 3 and 4, 5 and 6. 5 is a really important piece because that kind of shows and gives you a little bit of an outline of what the federal and policies were about, and kind of gives you an idea of what is in the curriculum guide. Today we will be talking about the hidden cave, and our author for Hidden Cave lesson plan will be utilizing the essential understanding number 6. We ask that each of our lesson plan developers utilize one of the essential understandings. This is the one she utilized. History is a story most often related through the subjective experiences of the teller. And we'll go into details about that as well. And finally, essential understanding number 7. Under the legal system, Indian tribes have sovereign powers, separate and independent from federal and state governments. A lot of times our school districts don't realize this when they're dealing with our sovereign nations and our tribal people across our state. Again, we will provide this information on the website, and we look forward to providing a lot of the different lesson plans that were developed by various teachers, native and non-native. So without further ado, I'm going to actually turn our screen over to Ms. Winter Carrera, who is the Hidden Cave producer, and she's going to show you her slideshow along with the video of Hidden Cave. So bear with us for just a moment while we switch panelists. Winter?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Can you see me?
Yes.
Yes.
I can't see you, but we can see your screen.
Okay. All
I
right.
see you.
You do? Okay.
Hi.
Yes.
Hi. Hi, my name is Winter Carrera. I'm the producer, editor, and first assistant director for Hidden Cave. Now I will introduce myself in my native language, Piute, which, is an American Indian language found here in Nevada. Nu Tamonanya Nuagaida Kata Numu. My name is Winter, and I am a member of the Walker River Piute tribe and of the Trout clan located in Schurz, Nevada. Hidden Cave is a high-definition documentary film focusing on premier archaeological site, Hidden Cave. The film emphasizes the cave's importance as a unique and valuable link to Nevada's deep historical past and a site used to better understand American Indian life, going back thousands of years in the Carson Sink, here in Nevada. Both the cave and the Nevada landscape come to life as world-renowned researchers and Falun Piute Shoshone tribe members share their stories. Oh, stand by. So, this is just a little bit of background information about me. As I said before, I produced, shot, wrote, and edited Hidden Cave. I worked as a University of Nevada Reno liaison with the BLM, Churchill County Museum, and the Nevada Department of Transportation. And also, I'll be showing this a little bit later, a website and a blog dedicated to the film. So really just collaborating with these different organizations, drawing upon my experience actually working out in the commercial field, so working on a short film, Derby Kings. You should check that out. It's about these two Native American brothers and their relationship in the world of demolition derby driving. And also I work for the Travel Channel Food Wars as an associate producer, National Geographic's Naked Science series as a production assistant, and also Discovery Studios Curiosity as a production assistant. I'm a member of the Walker River Piute tribe located in Schurz, Nevada, and I also still operate my tribally owned business, Tamosi Productions, so mainly photography, video, I have a bachelor's degree in anthropology from the University of Nevada, Reno. So I touched on this. The film combines landscape cinematography and cultural perspectives by Felon Piute Shoshone tribe members and scientific or archaeological perspectives by world-renowned researchers. The intended audiences are K through 12 school children, the elderly, and special needs individuals, or just anyone who can't physically visit the site to experience Hidden Cave through our documentary. So this is really exciting imagery that not a lot of people have seen. This is actually the Hidden Cave Interpretive Trail. If you were to go out to Fallon and visit Hidden Cave, this is what you would see. So going on to the next photo, this is a petroglyph. Pictured is a petroglyph along the Hidden Cave Trail. You'll be seeing this image later on in Maxine's presentation, but as you can see, there's a toad and also a lizard on there. Also pictured is the Stillwater Marsh, and this was filmed on location at the Felon Piute Shoshone tribe. Donna Cassette, who's a tribal member there, got special permission from the Felon Piute Shoshone Tribes Council to allow us to come in and film there. And so this shot is actually at night. This was shot about 3 a.m. in the morning time with a long exposure. So it's really, really awesome imagery. Hidden Cave is located just east of Fallon, Nevada in the Carson Sink. So a little bit of the cave history. The cave was formed roughly 21,000 years ago under the waves of Pleistocene Lake Lahontan. Hidden Cave was used by the indigenous people who lived in the Carson Sink roughly 3,800, 3,600 years ago. After 2 waves of excavations in the 1940s and 1950s, by the late 1970s, groundbreaking research was done by now renowned archaeologist and curator of North American archaeology at the American Museum of Natural History in New York City, Dr. David Hurst Thomas, and his field team traveled out to Hidden Cave and discovered a plethora of items stored or cached within the depths of Hidden Cave. Tools, weaponry, basketry, and food were some of the items found, and tells a unique story about life going back thousands of years. Since then, Hidden Cave has become an important cultural site within Fallon, Nevada, the community, and around the world. Today, people can experience a unique tour of Hidden Cave managed by the Churchill County Museum and Archives every second and fourth Saturday of every month. Something that's really notable about this and is new information is that the cave was primarily used by women. So definitely interesting. And also, this cave was not a burial site, it was a storage location, kind of like grandma's attic. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So this is just to give you a little bit of an overview of who put this film together that you're going to watch. There's my boss, Mark Gandolfo. He's the director of technology here at the University of Nevada, Reno. And then me, Winter Carrera. I'm the producer of it. And then also the BLM is represented, Associate Producer James Carter, Associate Producer Rachel Cruz, and also Churchill County Museum and Archives Administrator Donna Cassette is an Associate Producer, and Dr. Cliff Krieger from the Nevada Department of Transportation is also an Associate Producer, and NDOT, the Nevada Department of Transportation, was key in bringing the LiDAR, which is the light information sensing technology, to our film. It's pretty cutting edge stuff. Just to kind of give you an overview of everyone who participated, and actually this is only a fraction of everybody involved, but it just gives you kind of a good feel of the atmosphere and of all of our organizations coming together. My job as a producer is really to bring people together for our task of filming and the production is just lucky that we were able to work with such fine organizations, and now the Nevada Department of Education with the study guide and lesson plan, and also Maxine M. So, without further ado, let's travel inside Hidden Cave. So I'm going to switch over to a browser window. If you're not able to view this, you'll be able to view it if you go to Hidden Cave, HIDDENCAVE.wordpress.com. You'll be able to view it. But we're going to go ahead and play it within the browser because this is the preferred way of watching it. And if you are going to be teaching this or showing this into your class, this is a great resource and place to watch Hidden Cave or see any of the behind the scenes information about how we made the film. So let's go ahead and get started. And I'm going to go ahead and play Hidden Cave. And actually, let's see. I'm going to change the quality to high definition. And you could change these settings too. So it's pretty short. It runs about a little over 15 minutes. The credits run a little longer, so let's go ahead and play this.
Hidden Cave contains a remarkable story about resilience in the desert. It's about material that goes back thousands and thousands of years. People were not living inside this cave as much as using the cave for the rest of their life. They're leaving things here because they expect them to be safe and they can come back and get them at another time.
What makes it so special is that this is a part of our people's land. We are able to come out here and harvest and use the land as it was intended for us. These places, they were held dear to our people.
Suppose we were on the moon and we were looking at planet Earth. It would be pretty easy to identify the Pacific and the Atlantic Oceans in North America. And then as we zoom in, what's the most striking feature on the landscape are the two major mountain ranges. We have the Rockies, and then we have the Sierra Nevada Cascades. It's that great area in between, the Great Basin, that area of internal drainage. Hidden Cave is located in the Carson Sink, just east of Fallon. It's a very dry place. The water comes in. Once it lands here, it never leaves.
The cave overlooks the Stillwater Marsh of the Carson Desert, which is a smaller basin inside the larger Great Basin. The environment outside Hidden Cave has not changed a whole lot since 3,500 years ago. It's in the Eatsa Mountain Range, which is a subrange of the Stillwaters.
And the archaeology of Hidden Cave, right in the middle of this intermountain area, is all about water. And that's what Native people are most concerned about, living in the Great Basin. And that's why Hidden Cave is of such interest. Hidden Cave itself goes back well before people utilized it. It may even predate people in the New World. Lake Lahontan, the huge freshwater lake that formed during the Ice Age that covered much of western Nevada, wave action from Lake Lahontan carved out what is now Hidden Cave. We also know that tufa deposits, freshwater coral, formed around the edges and helped obscure where this cave came from. We certainly know it was underwater after that because of the number of the basal settlements here at Hidden Cave are waterland. As the lake dried up and eventually completely dried up, it exposed Hidden Cave to surface terrestrial forces. I think we can divide the findings at Hidden Cave into two parts. Part of it is about the natural world. We understand a great deal more about the Carson Sink and the Intermountain West because of our excavations here. We could see a volcanic ash level that came in from southeastern Oregon, from Crater Lake. We can understand what the vegetation looks like. We can see what animals were living here. We also have a whole lot to say about what people were doing in the Hidden Cave, Carson Sink, Nevada area. The first people probably showed up at Hidden Cave 8,000 or 9,000 years ago. They didn't leave much of a record. The record is much better outside on surface assemblages that we can see around the Carson Sink. Four 4,000 years ago, people stopped here, probably foragers on long distant treks. They needed to leave things in a safe place. It gave them a place to hide from enemies, to use as their own special space. Climate changed further, and the Carson Sink became a very good place to live 2,000 years ago. People lived in great numbers around the marshes of Stillwater. Here was a place where water had come down and settled in a marshy environment that created all sorts of resources. Bulrush and scirpus, the plant foods were there, the ducks were coming through, people were living in houses at least half of the year. They're using it as part of their daily activities, and we know now it's mostly women who are coming up here. Life was good, and Hidden Cave was part of that. It was in their backyard. Then a record series of droughts struck the American West about 1,000 years ago. People ceased living at Stillwater, and they ceased using Hidden Cave for that as well. And then life continued around the Carson Sink. Hidden Cave all but disappeared until this site was rediscovered in the 20th century.
It was in sync with everything around you. Life was at a pace where you could observe things around you at the natural level. You understood the land you lived with, the water, the trees, the seasons, and you could almost read it like a book.
Stillwater Marsh. That's where the Indians used to live. The Creator put all these things here. You give thanks no matter what you do. You're going to start with a new day. There's no other feeling to be back home where my people used to live. All the things that you see here is it's here for their survival.
You have meat and fish and the waterfowl. You have vegetables and the plants that you have. From the seeds to the stems to the roots. The root systems, for instance, for the tule, you could even eat the root system on those for food. From that is what we're known as in the still waters as the Toitakata, the cattail eaters.
That's our culture, but then again, it showed you it was a means of living.
And it wasn't just a cattail growing out in the water. It was put there by the Creator, but it's put there for use, and our people used it.
The hidden cave, for instance, would have been a place that's known to our people, but we wouldn't have visited unless we had a purpose. I wouldn't go there because I don't have a purpose for being there traditionally. Today, I do go there because it's a place where people go to find higher learning or understanding about our culture, about our people. And if we don't participate in that conversation, then our story will continually not be told about how we are still connected to these places.
Hidden Cave has been a well-known archaeological site since the 1940s. The Nevada Highway group had a dig in here with the Wheelers. University of California, Berkeley had a dig here in the early 1950s. And as I was coming along, I was working in Central Nevada at the time, Hidden Cave was just kind of a must-see place. It's an extraordinary experience for the seasoned archaeologist, for the new student to walk into a place like this and see, look at that archaeology, it's right in your face. We thought that we could open up the site in a way that had not been done before. What if we could get all of the artifacts from Hidden Cave together in one place? From the 40s dig in Carson City, bring things in from Berkeley, from the Cal dig in the 50s, and our own stuff, and lay them out in one place. We wanted to understand Native American life going back thousands of years in Hidden Cave. One of the extraordinary things about Hidden Cave is it's an archaeological site that people can actually come and visit. Too often when we finish a dig, we just cover it up and walk away, and people might be able to read a newspaper account about what's there, but today people can come and experience Hidden Cave. And one of the questions we get is, what's left here? Aren't there artifacts still buried in those exposures? And the answer is absolutely yes. What we do find is evidence that Native people over 5,000 years have come into this place and they've left their valuables. It's like Grandma's attic. They're leaving things here because they expect them to be safe and they can come back and get them at another time. So we're able to find nets like that, basket fragments and arrow fragments and the rest. It's something that you save and repair and curate and use across the generations. We have shell beads from the Pacific coast, made of olivella shells, made of clam discs. It may not be a stretch of the imagination. This might have been money, and it may have been deposited here as in a bank at Hidden Cave.
One thing about the archaeology here in the Great Basin is the potential for further knowledge. The basketry that we find in the upper layers of Hidden Cave, we can directly associate with the historic basketry that the Stillwater Marsh people or the Toitacutta used. And they're the cattail eaters. We know from the archaeological record that cattail was used throughout the occupation of the cave. So there is a divergent view that the Toitacutta used Hidden Cave throughout its archaeological record.
When you enter Hidden Cave, the thing that you notice right off is the smell. I love that smell. It's the smell of science. We can see from the archaeological record in the profiles a lot of excavated pits. They're lined with tule that is brought in from the marsh. We have wood rats in the cave. We have guano from bats. We have people's activity in the cave.
Think about crawling into this rock tunnel inside of a mountain. And once you get inside, if you're lucky, you don't bump your head. It opens up into this vast chamber. Once we light it up, you realize the space enclosed would be big enough where two National Basketball Association games could be going on at the same time, and we'd still have room for the crowd around the edges. When we started working here at Hidden Cave 3 decades ago, it was clear that we needed to communicate our results immediately. So we spent as much time as we could communicating our results with the local community. There was an expression of interest at the time that could be manifest in the plans of the Bureau of Land Management and the Churchill County Museum in making it carry on. And this is quite literally why the cave became an icon for visitorship since then. Cave tours are still going on after all this time. Somebody told me, I don't know if it's true, that more people have come through Hidden Cave on these tours that live in Fallon, Nevada. Even if that's close, that's a remarkable thing. This is not an easy place to get into. It's not an easy place to visit, but the dedication of the larger community, it's an important place. When we walked away from the site, our idea was to do as much as we could to not only preserve what we've not excavated, but also make it available for the larger Nevada public. And as I see this now, and as I look at the record, I think the most important thing that we would do if we were going to revisit this project today is have a very active Native American component in the dig. That's something that we didn't do well back in the past, even 30 years ago, and we've learned a lesson there. At the time, archaeologists believed that we owned the past. We don't think that anymore. That was a mistake. And as a result, we had virtually no outreach to Native communities. And any work that will be done down the road at Hidden Cave, and there is plenty that could be done here in the future, will definitely have a strong Native voice.
It's a humanity issue, in my opinion, and it's one where it's very important that you talk to the people that were here first. The Creator made so many things for our people, and this is the way they lived. They respected everything, and there was a sacredness to it. It's something that the Creator made for all people, not just our people, but for all people.
So this is Hidden Cave. I'm gonna go ahead and stop it just because we are kind of running, I wanna keep on moving us forward. So that is Hidden Cave. Please check it out just in case it was kind of slow moving on your end due to the internet connection. Please visit hiddencave.wordpress.com or send me an email. My contact information will be provided by Fredina. But if you are interested in using it in your classes, availability will be at the Churchill County Museum and Archives, and they'll have hard copies of DVDs and Blu-rays in limited capacity, so it's kind of like a first come, first serve kind of thing. Again, if you need contact information for them, please contact Fredina or contact me. And also I wanted to mention that the website will be expanded to include video snippets that directly corresponds with the study guide and lesson plan that Maxine will be talking about. The videos will be hosted on UNR servers. We're looking at YouTube again, possibly, but due to some of the school districts blocking YouTube, we're thinking it might be more efficient to host it on UNR servers. But as you can see on the Hidden Cave website, we have a home tab, a blog, photo, video, history, about, and if you notice there's an educators tab. If you click onto it, it'll take you to these really cool educator links. So links to the American Museum of Natural History, links to Dr. David Hurst Thomas, who you saw in the film, and his research, because he's the primary researcher. Also, if you want to visit Hidden Cave, there's a link to the tours and also the Washoe and Western Shoshone tribe. This specific tab will be where our videos are hosted. So you'll see 2 videos um, and go from there. Or you can always pop back to our homepage and it'll show the YouTube link. And if you notice here, right down by the play button, there's time. There's a 0, it's a 0 and then 1935. If you just bring your cursor anywhere here, so like if we're saying in the study guide, please refer to the 7-minute mark, you could also quickly just scroll to the 7-minute mark and play the video to correspond to the study guide. Whatever is easiest. We're just trying to make it as easy as possible. So let me switch back over to my PowerPoint. Let's see. So this is what the cave tours look like. And without further ado, let's go ahead and move on to Maxine M., the author of Hidden Cave.
Maxine? Maxine M? I am going to go ahead and show the presentation. And once, can everybody hear me? Well, let's unmute Winter. Winter, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I am going to go ahead and Maxine might have stepped away for a moment.
Well, can I mention something really quick?
Sure.
I think also to add is what's so unusual and significant about this Hidden Cave documentary is that we were able to have both the native perspective, so from us Paiutes, and also the archaeological perspective represented in our film, which is just so rare in this day and age. And I don't know, I studied anthropology as for my bachelor's degree, and you learn about um, other cultures being represented, and I guess it just you watch other documentaries that are being done around the world and they're kind of dated. They're maybe 20 years old or even 10 years old, and they don't really have this native perspective to it. And it was really neat and really exciting to be able to do this, and now to just see it go into maybe this study guide and lesson plan is just phenomenal, and hopefully we can reach more school children and students. It's just wonderful. So I just wanted to add that to it.
Very good. Do we have any other comments from the participants? You're unmuted and you can say anything at this point. We also have a chat on the bottom that you can add into. And what I'll do is I'll send you a chat right now if you have any questions. And I send it to all, so you may respond to me if you have any questions during this time. And I believe Maxine is back. Maxine? Hold on just one moment. Can we see Maxine Winter?
Yes, I can see her.
Okay.
Maxine, unplug your headset and plug it back in.
Hi, Maxine. We can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm going to go ahead and run the slideshow for Maxine, and she'll go ahead and talk it through.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm Maxine, and I'm the teacher that created the lesson plan for the video Hidden Cave, which was created by Winter and her group. I focused on Nevada Central Standing number 6, which is at the bottom of the first page. History is a story most often related through the subjective experiences of the teller. With the inclusion of more voices, histories are being rediscovered and revised. History told from an American Indian perspective frequently conflicts with the stories mainstream historians tell, and that's one of the key things I noticed about the video that we watched was that it is from a Native American perspective for the most part. A lot of the footage was narrated by Native Americans, and there's a certain feel and original portrayal, I guess, of Native Americans that's displayed in the video that I thought was helpful for people trying to explain what it means to be a Native American. Also, I have listed the state social studies standards and the Common Core state standards that are coordinated with this lesson in terms of studying Native Americans. I have compare and contrast in the Common Core, interpreting information presented visually, orally, and our objective today, after watching the Hidden Cave film, students will discuss the connection between the cave and the historical relevance that Native people have for their land. And then we have some vocabulary listed, and for basic needs, which we didn't fill in yet, but we're going to fill in, that is in terms of things that the Native American people used in relation to nature, like food and shelter and clothing and all of the things related to their cultural identity. As we go on to the next part, I have a grading rubric that's kind of an overall rubric for the entire lesson, and I wanted the students to have a clear understanding that the Nevada Indians made use of nature, plants and animals that was native to the Great Basin to provide for their basic needs based on the archaeological evidence, and that goes back to what the things that they found in Hidden Cave. For basic understanding, we have students understand that Nevada Indians made use of nature that came from the Great Basin to provide for their basic needs. And then when they're not quite at the level that we need to have them be at, students are aware that Nevada Indians live in the Great Basin and made use of plants and animals. They might not necessarily make the connection to the plants and animals that are in the Great Basin, but they know they use plants and animals. And then for a very minimal understanding, students know that Nevada Indians lived in the desert, and they might not make the connection with the plants or the animals or even the ecosystem in the Great Basin. The first activity that we had listed is poetry. And as we were listening to the video, we had Alvin Moyle and Donna Cosette describing their feelings about what it was like in the natural setting of the Great Basin. And so that was where I got my idea for using poetry. I put in 2 examples of poetry from the Celebrating Nevada Indians curriculum, and so that you could kind of have an idea of what type of feeling we're looking for in terms of the students making the connection to nature, and also the self-reflection, betrayal of the heart is a good example of the pride and ownership that Native Americans might have of their area, the land, and just being Native American in Nevada. And so, in addition to that, I put down a poem that it was created from a poem that we did in the writing retreat, the lesson plan writing retreat with the State Department. And I kind of redesigned it a little bit so that it's a fill-in type of poem. You can always extend it and have the students create their own, but it's kind of good to have them have something to work from. So that's what I created there. The lesson 2 is the pictograph writings based on the rock that Winter was referring to, the petroglyph. And at the bottom of the lesson are some symbols that could be used for the pictograph that you're creating. My idea was to create something that looked like a rock or something that the Native Americans would write on, like an animal skin or something, but mostly this is in reference to the petroglyphs. So what we used to display the writing was a paper bag, or you can use construction paper. I used brown. You can use different colors. My students used gray. Something with color, and then you just crumple it up and wrinkle it. My students have found that if they keep crinkling it and keep rubbing it together, it gets more of a softer texture, and so it's a little bit more fun to work with when they have that type of texture with the writing. And then we use chalk to create our symbols, and I think we had some other symbols that we used. I don't know where they went to on here, but we had a sun and some fish and a lizard and water and mountains, along with the ones that we had earlier on the page previous. And the students can create symbols that represent things in nature, like the sun, people, water, mountains, and they can write their little story. And these are some examples from my students this year that they did. And so what I had them do was I had them write their symbols that they wanted to tell their story with in chalk. Then they wrote their story in sentences, and then they went over their drawings in chalk with crayon to make them more permanent. And then by the time that point came, they had their story pretty much developed the way they wanted it. So they didn't have to erase the crayon, and it was a little bit more workable to have the symbols in chalk before they were writing their story, so that if they needed to change something, they could easily, without starting all over. And so then their finished product was a little short story with the symbols, and it was just glued on construction paper. And you can see the comparison of the little stories they made with the drawings that Winter was referring to in the video, and it's a pretty good comparison, I think. There's a grading rubric there, similar to the one we did, but I added the part about the symbols just to make it fit the activity So the rubric is very similar to the one we saw earlier, except that there's the symbols added. The activity 3, the chronology timeline, is in reference to an archaeology activity, since Hidden Cave is archaeology and they look at the strategic layers, they're called. And so I have a timeline based on information that is research based from Hidden Cave. And then on the next page, I believe, we have some objects deposited within different layers, and there's a key for you to identify the objects. These objects are not necessarily related to Native Americans. Somewhat, this activity came from an archaeology class that I took, and I thought it was an interesting way for kids to see how the top layer was the newest layer, and then it just goes further down so that they can compare that to what they saw in the Hidden Cave. These items are not what they found in Hidden Cave necessarily, but it's just to help them see how the strategic layers were deposited at different times. And then the following activity is a worksheet for them to use with the layers to help students get an idea of the timeline. The last activity is a review sheet, and a lot of these archaeology vocabulary words are from the list that I gave you earlier, and you can use this as a study sheet or a guide to help you teach different aspects of archaeology to the students. And then the last part, we have a little worksheet or test, if you want to call it that, to help them to see if they got the basic understanding and kind of evaluate where they are with archaeology and Hidden Cave. Then we have an answer sheet for that, and the last part are additional materials that you can use for teaching about Hidden Cave, and some information about the museum and the cost and the video and so forth. And that is my part of the lesson.
Well, thank you, Maxine. Are there any questions from our audience? If there isn't,
I see Angela's listening.
Yes, she is. So what I'm going to do next, because of the time that we have together, I'm going to exit this. Just one moment, please. And I wanted to bring up this page. This is the actual document what we worked off from this past summer with Maxine, along with a lot of other non-native and native educators. So you can see there's a lot of information in here. So I really suggest that you come to our website at the Nevada Department of Education's website to download this. It's a lot to have to go through at this time, but I really thank Maxine for taking on this project, especially because we are working with two Native people on this actual project, and one being with Miss Winter Carrera, who is the developer of the producer of the Hidden Cave production, and we have they're both of the Northern Piaute and also Maxine. So it's really exciting to see that we're taking advantage of our um, ability to be um, taking our history and even embracing our contemporary lifestyles as Native individuals and being able to develop this. So I really want to thank you for attending our first webinar. And I've given you the contact information. I hope you can see it. Can you see that, Maxine, since you're not muted?
Yes.
Okay. Winter, do you have anything final to say? If not, we want to thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to you viewing these webinars, and we'll also be inviting you to the January through October through probably April webinars next spring, and we'll keep you updated on any new information that comes about. Thank you. Maxine?
Thank you.
Tina,
Yes.
before are you going to stop recording? Because I have a question.
Oh, I can stop recording right now.